What's up everybody and welcome to the Fight franchise and our preview and prediction of the co-main event of UFC 314 where Michael Chandler takes on Paddy Pimblett in a high level lightweight competition in the co-main event in a 5-round bout, which is going to be very exciting and I can't wait for it. Interesting bout as Paddy Pimblett, he's had a very interesting career. He's been undefeated in the UFC so far and he's kind of been guided by Dana White and the higher ups in the UFC to kind of build him the perfect career to get up in the division, similar as they have done with Sean O'Malley. And now he's going to be facing his toughest test in Michael Chandler, who is a very wild dog in the octagon, and he can cause many upsets. And he's also done some very stupid things in that octagon. So it's going to be a very interesting bout. It will be whether Pimblett can exploit these kind of flaws in Michael Chandler's game and his recklessness, or will that recklessness be too much for someone like Pimblett, who has never faced anybody like Chandler in the octagon? I know he's faced Tony Ferguson, Pimblett has, but that was out of his prime Tony Ferguson. This is the best competition he has faced up to this date in his MMA career, so it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Let's get into the tale of the tape of both guys, and then we'll get how we got here and then give our preview and prediction. So Michael Chandler, 23 wins, 9 losses. Paddy Pimblett, 22 wins, 3 losses. And 5'8" is Michael Chandler, 5'10" is Paddy Pimblett. 71.5-inch reach for Michael Chandler, 73-inch reach for Paddy Pimblett. 37.5-inch leg reach for Michael Chandler, 40-inch leg reach for Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is the much bigger guy in that octagon, but I doubt he's the stronger one because Michael Chandler is a gorilla. He's shown his power, he's shown his explosivity, he's shown how much of a high level athlete he is, and he's shown in that octagon and many times he can easily pick someone up and just throw them around, ragdoll them. It was most recently, who was it? He pistol squatted someone and just threw them like it was nothing. He had Charles Oliveira on his back in the MSG fight just most recently gone, and got up with Charles Oliveira on his back, slammed him, got up again and slammed him again. So this guy is a freak athlete, he's a gorilla, and he's very strong and powerful. But Paddy Pimblett, in between fights, he probably gets up to 200 pounds. So he cuts down to about 155 so he'll probably balloon up to about 185 on the night. He's a very big guy. We saw it against Bobby Green. The physicality and size difference between the both of them. Paddy was much bigger than him in there, and I think that's going to help him. He's going to need a lot of strength and durability to keep up with someone like Michael Chandler. So let's break down both guys' rise in the UFC and how we got here. So Michael Chandler joins the UFC, faces Dan Hooker at UFC 257 in his debut, where they face off in a measured and tentative bout across the first round. And then Michael Chandler unleashes a massive flurry of punches, drops Hooker, and then gets him to the ground, lands the ground and pound, 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Michael Chandler's debut is a successful one of the best debuts in UFC history, gets it off with a win, and then next thing you know, Khabib retires, he vacates the belt, and he goes, okay, Dana's like, we need a title pitching bout, let's make a bout for vacant gold, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, and these two square off, where they have a very exciting matchup. Oliveira in the first round, gets the back of Chandler and he's got control of him. That's the first time we see him do the slam to Oliveira, and he survives with Oliveira on his back with the choke, and next thing you know, he reverses the position and he's rocking Oliveira and dropping him and then landing ground and pound against him, and then they have a back and forth first round where it can go 50-50 whichever way you score it. The second round, they come out and next thing you know, Charles Oliveira gets in close, lands a hook. He's dropped Chandler going backwards, chases him. He's got Chandler wobbled, drops him, ground and pound, gets the finish. And, Michael Chandler loses his chance at undisputed gold, and probably his only chance he's going to get at undisputed gold. Off the back of this, they're like, okay, Michael Chandler is, gold. He's worth his weight in gold for entertainment on a fight card. Let's put him against the most exciting fighter in the lightweight division's history, Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. And it's an all-out war at MSG where Michael Chandler's just literally walking forward with his chin and Gaethje's just rocking him. And it's like, bloody hell, you're defending with your chin. And they go to war, have the fight of the night, and arguably, in some people's eyes, in 2021, for the fight of the year. But Gaethje gets the win. Off the back of this, he has to fight a bit down going into the division. So he fights a bit of a declining Tony Ferguson, where he is facing Tony Ferguson, who's just lost against Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, and Justin Gaethje. He faces off against Ferguson, and next thing you know, they've squared off. And the first round's quite competitive, but Chandler does the better in the end. Towards the end of the round, gets the takedown, lands the ground and pound. But let's not get it twisted. There was moments, I'm pretty certain, Ferguson lands an uppercut and he drops Michael Chandler. So yeah, that's going to be key for Paddy to look out for, and that more on that later. But he lands that brutal front kick, which puts Ferguson out cold in one of the KOs of the year in 2022, and he brutally ends Tony Ferguson's career at the highest level. Then, off the back of this, he faces Dustin Poirier at the end of 2022, where they have a very competitive bout where, in the first round, Dustin rocks Michael Chandler on the feet. And the second round, Michael's dominating with his wrestling. And then the third round, they're back and forth. And off the back of a scramble, where Chandler's picked up Poirier and threw him down, Poirier gets the back of Chandler and he gets the rear naked choke, and he gets the submission to become the first man to submit Michael Chandler in the octagon. And then most recently, Chandler's been trying to get a bout with Conor McGregor for 2 years. It's failed. Conor's never fought. He was about to fight, but he pulled out with an injury. And now he faced Charles Oliveira at the end of the year, MSG in 2024, where they had a 5-round bout where Oliveira was much more measured, dominated Chandler in 4 of the 5 rounds. But the 5th round, Chandler did his bit where he was explosive and he rocked Oliveira, but he couldn't get the finish. And now, since, he's not getting the McGregor bout, the UFC has gone, okay, we'll give you the next best. We'll give you Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, on the other hand, joins the UFC and he faces Luigi Vendramini in what was a competitive back and forth on the feet where he got rocked early, did Paddy. And then next thing you know, he gets Vendramini backing up, gets the KO, and then puts away Luigi. And then off the back of this, he gets 2 brilliant wins in 2022 in England, where he beats Rodrigo Vargas via submission and Jordan Levitt via submission as well, where he showed some improvements in his game. He did still get rocked a little bit on the feet, but he showed in the grappling department he can survive in the wrestling, in the scrambles with the judo throws up against the fence. He did brilliant in those 2 performances. Then it's a bit of a dip in his next 2 performances. Has a very competitive and close bout against Jared Gordon, where a lot of people thought Paddy lost that fight. He did go in there with an injury, but he did, a lot of people said he lost that fight. He didn't deserve the win, and it did put a stain on him with a lot of fans. Comes back, fights the beloved and acclaimed Tony Ferguson, who's on a dip in his career, on a massive decline, and he beats Tony Ferguson, but he doesn't beat him as impressively as Bobby Green did, as Michael Chandler did, as Justin Gaethje did, as Charles Oliveira did. He just kind of smothered him and beat him on the ground and couldn't get the submission. And then in the 3rd round, there was a moment where, they're striking on the feet and Paddy's the one breathing heavy and Ferguson's pushing him back up against the fence, and, it just wasn't a good look. And then most recently, he's won the fans back over with his brilliant win against Bobby Green, which is his best win of his career, where he's chewing up Bobby Green's leg on the feet and then Bobby Green goes for a takedown. And then out of nowhere, he's in Paddy's world when he's on the ground. Paddy sinks up the triangle choke and gets the win and puts Bobby Green to sleep, and he's won a lot of the fans back with that performance. And 6 wins in a row. The competition's been getting better, but he's been fighting guys like Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green, who are his best wins at the tail end of their career, quite similar to what he's getting with Michael Chandler, where he's getting him at the tail end of Michael's career. But this is a totally different step up in competition. This is an explosive athlete. This is an athlete who maybe not in his prime, but he's game, When you look at Michael Chandler, yeah, he makes dumb decisions in the octagon. Yeah, he's 2-4 in the octagon. Look at his losses. Poirier, Gaethje, Oliveira. Those are some bad matchups. Those are guys who are some of the best lightweights of all time. When you go and if I told you make a top 10 list of the best lightweights of all time, these are guys who haven't even won belts, some of them, and look how good they are. Look at guys like Dustin Poirier. Look at his resume. Look at guys like Justin Gaethje. Look at his resume. So yeah, Michael Chandler is totally a step up in competition. How do I think this fight's going to go? I think there's a reason the UFC's picked this matchup. They're trying to do the Sean O'Malley route with Paddy Pimblett, where they're like, okay, we need the star. We need the superstar in the lightweight division. If he can become champion, that's a huge pay-per-view. That's huge eyes on the sport. That's brilliant for the UK market. We can go to Anfield if we need to, if we get the win. And I just don't think this is... it worked with Sean O'Malley, where they just genetically, engineered his career and gave him the win in a close fight against Peter Yan and XYZ. And Sugar Sean done his bit when he was KOing guys. And then when it came to the highest level, he faced Aljo, he knocked him out. And Sugar Sean, walks the walk and talks the talk, even though his career was, genetically manufactured. Can Paddy Pimblett do the same in what is this Shark Tank of a lightweight division? This is his first real test, is this for Paddy Pimblett. It's a 5-round fight, a co-main event. I'll be honest with you, that doesn't favour either guy, because I feel like neither guy has amazing cardio. I think Paddy's got good cardio. I think Chandler's got good cardio. Chandler's got more 5-round experience at the highest level. But Michael Chandler is so explosive. He throws everything behind every shot. Every strike is a significant strike. He's going to tire himself out. We saw against Ferguson, Paddy got tired. Paddy balloons up between camps and then comes back down. So is his body acclimated? Is he got the cardio? Is he ready? Is he going to be, ready for the heaviest hitter he's ever going to face? I'm not too sure. As for kind of their strengths and weaknesses, I think on the feet, Chandler's going to have the advantages. I think Chandler's going to have the advantages just due to how explosive he is. I don't think he's probably a better striker than Paddy. I think Paddy mixes it up very well with the leg kicks, with the jab, with the striking. I think that he does mix it up very well, but he's reckless. He fights straight up. He fights with his chin in the air, and he's been caught by, Rodrigo Vargas, Luigi Vendramini. He's been caught by these guys. Has he tightened his boxing? Because Michael Chandler, you can get him on the feet. Justin Gaethje knocked him down with uppercuts. Tony Ferguson's knocked him down with uppercuts. Poirier's dropped him on multiple occasions, swinging in the pocket. I think swinging in the pocket for, Michael Chandler, he's used to it. He throws himself in the fire. He knows, I could get knocked out, but I can so easily knock you out. And for someone like Paddy, how many times are you going to be willing to do that? I think the lucky thing is for Paddy, if he does get dropped, he knows my jiu-jitsu is good enough that I can survive on the ground and I can do stuff on the ground where I'm key, I'm going to be safe on the ground, which kind of nullifies the wrestling aspect. Chandler's probably not going to shoot in this fight because there's no need for him to shoot, because if this goes to the ground, yes, Chandler's a good wrestler. Yes, Chandler has submissions. I think Paddy's got really underrated jiu-jitsu. I think he's got very good jiu-jitsu, and I think he can do damage on the ground, and he's the one who's more likely to find the submission. I think it's going to stay on the feet. I think if Paddy wants it, he's going to need to find a way to take it to the ground. He's going to find a way to try and take Chandler down, which isn't a really easy ask, where Chandler is a very strong individual, very tough guy. And we saw it recently where Oliveira was able to clinch Chandler up against the fence and then trip him up and, get the back and ride the back and look for the submission. I think that's how Paddy should fight it. But I think, is he as strong? And, I know Paddy's big, but Oliveira's big, but he's skinny, but he's got that wiry strength. He's got that weird, I don't know how to explain it, but some people, they're like skinny strong. It's weird. I don't know if Paddy has that same kind of strength when, Jordan Levitt, I think, had some success with the grappling against Paddy, if I remember correctly. I just think, I do want Paddy to win because I think it's better for the sport. I just think he's not been in the octagon with as much iron. Iron sharpens iron, and this is Iron Michael Chandler, and this is his test. If Michael Chandler is stupid enough to shoot for a takedown, that's when I see Paddy having success and he can submit him. But I think across if it goes to a decision, I think Paddy can win it because the judges will want him to win. I think if it goes to the ground, Paddy can win it because he can find the submission, but I don't think it's going to go to the ground. I think it's going to go into the second and third round, and I think Chandler's going to clip him bad. And I think Chandler's going to rock him, and then Chandler's going to follow up and put him out. And I know he says, Scousers don't get knocked out, but, Darren Till got brutally knocked out by Jorge Masvidal. It happens. Your striking defense, Paddy stands very tall, and for someone like Chandler, that's money because he done it with Hooker. Hooker stands quite tall as well, and he came in, he swung to the body, went upstairs, and it was the last shot which got him. And I think the same can happen to Paddy Pimblett. He stands so tall, he's so susceptible to punches. We haven't seen his striking tested properly in the octagon at the highest level. When we see his striking tested against Jared Gordon, against Tony Ferguson, and Rodrigo Vargas, Vendramini. He's been clipped, he's been rocked, he's been hit by these guys. And against a guy like Chandler, who has a chip on his shoulder now because he hasn't got the Conor McGregor belt, he needs a win as well as much as Paddy does. I want Paddy to win because I think it'll be better for the division. I just don't think he's going to win because for some reason, I just have a vision of him just getting slapped. And I don't know why, I just have this vision. In the second or third round, he is getting KO'd, unfortunately. I think what will happen, the first round, Paddy will think, I can stand with you, and he'll get clipped early in the first round. He won't learn from his mistake. In the second round, he'll try and grapple. Michael Chandler will defend the grappling. He'll tire and sap the gas tank of Paddy. And then going into the third round, where he's going to take him into deep waters, Paddy's going to get tired. He's going to drop his arms. He's going to get rocked. He's going to get clipped. And then he's going to fall back up against the octagon. And Chandler's going to land a flurry of punches and he's going to put him out. That's just how I see it going. I just think, unless Paddy plays it unbelievably safe, where he fights like Oliveira and just pushes him back up against the fence and just gets into no danger whatsoever, that's the only way I see him winning. But I don't think he'll do that because he wants to put on a fight of the night. He wants to put on a war. He wants to show Dana White and the UFC why I am one of the most exciting fighters on the UFC roster. I just don't think it will do him any favours. Paddy Pimblett, to win this fight, he needs to fight boring. That's it. He can't get into an exciting battle with Michael Chandler. He can't get into a dick swinging competition with Michael Chandler. It's not worth it for his career and for his trajectory. There's so much to lose for Paddy Pimblett in this fight. The excitement, the fans. If he makes it boring, he loses a bunch of fans. Dana's like, bit of a dud. We didn't expect that, whatever. But that's what he needs to do. And then he gets to 7-0. And if he wants the title, he needs to be boring, but he loses the fans. But if he's exciting, he could potentially lose. There's so much to lose for Paddy. There's so much pressure. Michael Chandler, this is another exciting fight. He's fought Poirier. He's fought Gaethje. He's fought for the title. He's fought Oliveira. He's won the Bellator title. He's been in big matchups. He's screaming for the Conor McGregor bout. This is another day in the octagon for him. For Paddy, this is his biggest fight of his career. And I just think the pressure's going to be too much for him. Yeah, he can mix it up with the low leg kicks and whatnot. Yeah, he's bigger. Yeah, he's stronger. I just think the pressure's going to get to him. I think he's going to get rocked in the first round. Second round, he's going to survive and get back into it. In the third round, he's going to get clipped and he's going to get KO'd. I hope he wins, because if he wins, there is an opportunity where Islam goes up to 170, and next thing you know, we're going to see Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett for the vacant gold. That wouldn't surprise me in the lightweight division. That would be a hilarious matchup. But I don't think Paddy Pimblett gets past Michael Chandler. I just think Chandler's too experienced. These experienced guys are just fraud checking these young and up and comers and these prospects and these guys who are slowly making their way up the division. I think Paddy needs experience. He needs to fight more. He needs to fight the guys, in that 15-10 range and get better experience. Bobby Green. What's Bobby Green? He needs to fight a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He needs to fight a guy like Dan Hooker, Mateus Gamrot. He needs to fight these guys who are, up there in the division. He's going for Michael Chandler, which is the easiest matchup of them. But that's still too much of a jump up. He hasn't been consistently improving in the octagon. Yes, he's got his best win, but you beat a bunch of cans kind of easily. Then you had tough matchups against Jared Gordon and Ferguson. Then you beat a Bobby Green who was significantly declining. So this is a decline of Michael Chandler, but I still think a decline Michael Chandler will beat Paddy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do you want to win? How do you predict it to go? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We hope you enjoyed the video and we'll catch you in the next one.